Hello everybody, it's Jenny from Jenny Stitches and welcome back to my channel today. I thought I would just call in today and do a very brief video to tell you about a couple of books that I have bought in the past week, which I thought you might be interested in taking a look at with me. So there's two. One of which is the new Tilly and the Buttons mini makes. I am super excited for this one, as obviously I have one child within this age range, and I'll go into more of my reasons why in a bit. And the second one that I have is the new companion to the Great British Sewing Bee, which is called Back to Basics this time. So I thought we'll have a look at both and I'll show you the projects that are inside and give you some of my thoughts. A bit of a chatty situation. I've got my tea. It's the end of the day here on a Wednesday afternoon, so I'm hoping that we can quickly go through this without too many interruptions. Okay, so we'll start by looking at the new Tilly and the Buttons book. Now, for me, this book has been a long time coming. I have stocked Tilly and the Buttons patterns for 5 years now, and it must be a good few years ago, possibly even during COVID, that they did survey all of the stockists, and one of the questions on the survey was, do you think there will be a market for children's versions of the adult patterns? And I was like, yes, because there's just so many opportunities if you've got little ones for twinning. So I think at the time it was kind of inferred that they would come out maybe as maybe add-ons or individual PDFs. So I was quite surprised to see this actually come out as a whole book, but I think as a concept that's actually really, really good. I own a copy of all 3 of the other Tilly and the Buttons books, and I think it goes without saying that they're really, really good. I know a lot of you come into the shop to buy fabrics for projects from them, and as always with Tilly, her patterns are very tried and tested. She's great at doing the whole wearable basics thing. So I would expect nothing less from a children's wear book, and as I say, it's been a while that this one's been in the works, so for me my hopes were high. So let's have a look at what's inside. There's the usual sort of introductory pages, sort of explaining what's going on, how to use the book. She talks quite a bit about sort of choosing fabrics, what's appropriate specifically for children's wear, which is nice. So if you are a relative beginner, there's some really, really valuable advice in there. For the more experienced sewist, you're probably more likely to just skip those pages because you just want to get straight to the patterns. One little thing that did pop it up here that I thought was really, really nice was she has included how to adjust for a reusable nappy. Now, I cloth nappied my daughter Jessica, and they are quite bulky. We used to use the all-in-one type of nappies, and that kind of advice would have been great because a lot of sort of ready-to-wear leggings and things wouldn't fit over those bulky nappies. So that's a nice, quite like a thoughtful touch. It makes me wonder if Tilly has cloth nappied her babies and has sort of run into the same issues. And she goes into kind of sort of some techniques and terms and things, and then we get into the project, which is the exciting part. Okay, so first up there is the Ridley leggings. Now, I don't think it gets much more basic than this. Obviously this is for knits, for stretch knits, and yeah, very, very straightforward. However, what I will say is, given that I stock a lot of children's patterns through sort of New Look and Simplicity, patterns that are as basic as this can quite often be overlooked. So there's a lot of very fancy designs, and you find that things like just a decent pair of leggings on their own are quite hard to achieve. They're generally sort of mixed in with something else. So there's those. All of the ages go up to an age 12, and they're very much designed with sort of unisex thinking in mind. In terms of variations, she includes knee patches, which is cute, sort of giving you ideas on, and I think the templates are included, yep, on how to do that. How to put in an adjustable waistband, which I think is quite genius, because particularly with my kids, I tend to find that, or my son in particular, he is tall but slim, so to get the length in trousers, things tend to be dropping off his waist. And that's a really good way of ensuring that if you put the time and effort into a make, you can extend its life a little bit. So that's quite a thoughtful little touch, and I think by learning that technique, you're gonna sort of, you can apply that to other trouser patterns, and if you're making for children. Another cute little option that she's popped in is how to pop spikes in the side seams, which is very sweet. Mine are probably a little bit old for that now, but great for babies and toddlers. And that is the Ridley leggings. Okay, so the next project is the Tabitha tee. So if you've got Make It Simple, you will recognise this t-shirt. Personally, I've made this a few times over, and it's a great t-shirt pattern in the adult version. So this is a very simple children's t-shirt to go with. I am thinking that I might make this for Juliet. She was admiring my Helen's Closet Jackson tee the other day. She said, oh, I really like that blue. And I thought, well, actually, I could just use this to make her her own version. On the smaller sizes, she does include poppers at the shoulder seams, or is it buttons? It's a combination, so you can choose between poppers or buttons for little ones, where it's harder to get it over the heads. But again, mine are past that now, so that wouldn't be as pertinent. In terms of variations for the Tabitha, there's a patch pocket. That's quite a simple variation. I don't think that's sort of rocket science, but what I really do like here, and I think this would be really applicable for my little girl, is the option to turn it into a gathered dress. Now, I am assuming, without reading in too much detail, that's simply a case of shortening the bodice and adding a couple of rectangles to the bottom, but it's nice to have that helping hand, and I think that is probably one of the really, really wearable options out of the book. She goes into how to make it a ringer tee, so putting cuffs on the sleeves, which mirrors the adult version as well. And that is the Tabitha. Okay, project number 3 is possibly the one that I am the most excited about, and that is the indigo. So I think that the adult version of the indigo dress almost has like a cult following now. It tends to be that once you've made one, you make 5. I think I've made 4. Is it that many? I'm not sure, but tried and tested for me, and I think the opportunity to have that for Juliet as well is really, really nice. She has included some of the variations in the book, which are available in the add-on pack on the adult pattern. So you can see there that she's got the button back bodice. That's in the adult pack, the add-on pack for the adults version. So I think this is really, really sweet, and it's just such a great basic for a little girl. She's got a ruffly short sleeve, and this is just adorable, isn't it? This is so sweet. I will be honest, I hadn't considered the ruffled version for myself, but looking at that picture, I'm thinking, that would be nice actually, just in something like a nice chambray. And again, she sort of goes through how to make it into a top, how to make it into a dress. There's a variation for putting tucks in the bottom of the skirt, which is sweet. I hope you can see that there. And I think that concludes that one. At the end of each project, she just pops in another little page with sort of options and ideas on it, in the same vein as her other books. Okay. Project number 5, or pattern number 5, is the Billy. And again, the Billy is just well renowned within the sewing community. I've made quite a few of them. And it's your perfect basic sweatshirt. And in the same way as the Ringer tee, as the Tabitha tee, this one has buttons on the shoulder seam. And we've got straightforward sort of ribbed cuff there. I'm not sure if she's included the balloon sleeve like on the adult version. The variations include making like a little animal face, which is sweet, and there's these really cute sort of ideas for, or templates for different animals, which made me chuckle. They're very cute. How to pop a kangaroo pocket on, which is nice, sort of a little bit more hoodie-esque, and you can see she's done a colour blocked version on there with the pocket. And that's a great way to practice the kind of techniques that you will be doing as an adult as well. The other variation is a little lettuce frill on here, which is cute. I don't think that was one of the pattern options on the Billy. I think it was sort of a hack that they'd put on their blog, but I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And that's the Billy. Then we have the Sunny jacket. I was quite surprised to see this one included, but I think it's a nice addition because, quite rightly so, it is sort of very genderless. It's just a little jacket, and I think kids in little chore jackets are just so cute. So I think that's really, really nice. You could go with a denim-y option for summer, and then maybe something a little bit more flannelly for the winter time. I think that's got a lot of potential. The sample there is made up in quite a chunky cord. And again, the instructions are just, as you would come to expect, really, really clear, really lovely. She's got the frilly collar option, which we have on the ladies version. I really fancy having a go at a Sunny jacket, actually. And yeah, oh, and an embroidered pocket, which is cute. So that's a nice little customization you could do there. And I think this is the last pattern that I might stand corrected. It is. So finally we have the Juno pyjamas. So the adult version of the Juno pyjamas is in Make It Simple. It's one of my go-tos actually for bottoms. I like making the shorts for summer. And yeah, just really, really sweet. A nice sort of pyjama top and bottom. I think that's got a lot of potential if you're wanting to twin around Christmas time. You've got adults and kids versions. And in terms of variations on there, she's showing you how to use heat transfer vinyl to do a kind of glow in the dark situation, and how to turn it into a shorty set as well, which is super useful because we're definitely going into the sort of shorts time of year. And oh look, and there's a little cat kind of cuddly toy you can make there. So I think in summary there's a lot of really, really nice things in this book. I would definitely say it's more aimed at more beginner level sewists. I would say that a lot of these styles, if you are a confident sewist and you've got a bit of experience, you can pick up patterns that are very similar to a lot of these kind of anywhere. But yes, I think absolutely worth a purchase. I appreciate that not everybody sews for children. I must admit I don't sew for my daughter as much as I thought I would, but I would definitely like to try a few of the projects out of here. I think in particular it's going to be useful for a bit of scrap busting. Things like the t-shirts and the leggings you're going to be able to get out of small quantities, particularly if you're colour blocking, so that's really nice. I do kind of wish that they'd included some of the other ladies' patterns. I think a mini erin dungarees in particular would have been perfect, but I guess there's scope for another book in the future, and maybe that's where they're thinking of going with that. So yeah, I should also mention that I do have a few copies of this available to buy in the shop or online, so I will tag that for you. I don't tend to stock a lot of books because we can't always compete with Mr. Bezos, but it's nice to have these in. I think they make great presents, and if you do want to choose to purchase from an independent retailer, then you can get one of these from me. Okay, moving on to book number 2. This is The Great British Sewing Bee Back to Basics, and I decided to treat myself to this one the other day. And this is the official book that accompanies the upcoming season of the Sewing Bee. I can't remember which number we're on now. It's been quite a lot now, hasn't there? And we don't have a release date as of yet. We're kind of most of the way through April now, and it's usually coming in around May time, but they don't tend to announce it until very close to it coming on. So it's kind of like waiting with bated breath around here for the Sewing Bee to come on, because a lot of my sort of content and things that I put out in the shop tend to revolve around that. So I want to know. However, just on opening the cover in here, you can see there are a lot of pictures of that upcoming series, which obviously gives us a bit of a sneak peek on the contestants. Though I can't say I immediately recognise anybody, but I'm excited to meet the new sewists and find out more about them. And yeah, and see how they get on. One of these people will be the new winner. We just don't know who. So, I have a few of the Sewing Bee books from over the years, not all of them, but one of my customers, Nikki, brought in the one from last year recently, and she was making the Breton top from it. And it was really, really good, so I figured this was worth a try. It wasn't very clear online which projects were in it, but I will quickly show you. So you've got the usual sort of forwards and introductions, and again, like any of the sewing books, it's going to tell you a bit about techniques, pattern matching, assume that's for Esme's benefit, and all of your abbreviations and things, but we shall just take a look at the projects themselves. And I think there's some really nice options. I should mention with this one, I was quite surprised by how big the package was when it came, and that's because you get this pattern pack. So all of your pattern pieces, instead of being tucked into the back of the book, are separately stored in this box, which is quite nice because you don't have all that uncomfortable bulk in the back. This is still nice to sort of sit on a desk or a coffee table. I think that's nice. However, when I have opened the box, I was hopeful, but unfortunately it does look like the pattern pieces are overlapping and therefore will need tracing, so you can't win them all. I'm not sure whether these are available on PDF anywhere. If they are, that will be a result. If I find them, I will update the comments and let you know. Okay, so the first project in the book is this casual shirt. Absolutely love this. It reminds me a little bit of what I'm wearing today. Very soft and relaxed. And that one is for sort of sewing up in your light to medium weight wovens, so your linens, cotton lawn, chambrays, that kind of thing. I want to make that one. That is on my list. Now, I should mention size-wise, I've had to move around the table a little bit because the camera keeps getting too hot in the window, which is a new one on me. Okay, so as I was about to say, I should mention that size-wise, this runs from a UK 8 to a 22. So that's going from a bust size of a 36-inch bust up to a 50-inch bust. And it doesn't actually have a hip measurement on here for the shirt, but yeah, not the most size inclusive, I've got to say, which is disappointing in this day and age. Now it's got sort of endorsements and comments and things from various bees from over the years. Tilly is making a comment on this one. If you weren't aware, she was on the first series of the Sewing Bee, which feels like a lifetime ago. Okay, now the next project is a little bit similar. It is a classic satin shirt. It reminds me a lot of posh pyjamas. Now, I must admit, I thought about this around Christmas time with the satin back crepes that I had in stock, that it would be lovely to make a more elevated blouse. So that could be a good contender, but that is very pyjama-esque. not really any difference in the measurements on there either. Okay, the third project is not something that I would ever wear, but it is cute nonetheless, and that is a jersey twist top. I have no issue with the style whatsoever. I think it's lovely, but for me, I just don't want to expose my midriff because I don't feel that confident with that. But that, if you feel comfortable with that, has a lot of potential. It reminds me a lot of the Tilly and the Buttons Joni twist top dress, but obviously without the actual dress part of it, just the top. So I'm assuming that this is going to be reflected in some of the projects. I'm not sure. The next one is a cowl neck top. I hold that up a bit closer for you there. Very much a sort of simple shell with a loose cowl neck. So that's a very wearable kind of day-to-day style. Your measurements again are going up to a 47.5 bust, which is not hugely inclusive. Then we move on to a plain neckline sleeveless blouse. We've got a little bit from Annie there. Do you remember when Annie won? Was that last year or the year before? It was the year before. It was Asthma last year. There isn't even a picture to go with that one actually. Plain neckline, sleeveless. Ah, right. So that is a variation on the cowl neck. It's removing the cowl neck and putting a V-neck in place instead. Okay, so this one, this is nice. This is an upcycled linen blouse. What are we upcycling? A tablecloth? Probably. Yeah, vintage linen it says, if you have any vintage linen. Obviously you can just purchase new linen as well, from me. But this is sweet, and it's got, I was going to say it's got an embroidery detail on it, but I'm assuming that that is what has been upcycled. But I do enjoy this soft sleeve going on here. That's very nice and wearable and quite on trend, I would say. And obviously you could embroider actual linen as a basic. You can see the sleeve there. Yeah. Okay, we then go on to a shorts and cami set. Now this could either be worn as pyjamas or as like a little beach set. For your very lightweight wovens, so cotton lawn or silks, that kind of thing. Viscose would work nicely for this too. So very strappy little detail there. Where's the size guide on here? That can't be right. Shorts. I must be reading something wrong here, because it says that the finished measurements of the shorts, the hip, on like a size 12 is 25.75 inches. That must be like half of it, surely, because that just doesn't work. Yeah, that's a bit strange. The sizing feels a little bit strange on that one, I've got to say, and that's a shame. If anyone else has got this book, please feel free to correct me and decipher that one, because that's got me confused. Now it goes on to show you a nice variation, which is a slip dress. So that's the same sort of style lines as the cami, but extended down into a dress. And then we move on to our next one, which I think has a huge amount of potential, which is a shirred dress. Do you remember them doing shirred dresses a couple of years ago? That was the series that Brogan was on, and she was sort of really famous for her shirred dresses. We have a shirred dress workshop here over the summer with Lucy of Sew Cumbria, so I'm looking forward to that one starting. But this is a nice guide to how to make a shirred maxi in terms of shirring the bodice and adding on sleeves and things. I can see that one being really popular. There's a lot of tutorials sort of floating around the internet for how to do this, but it's nice to have it in book form, and it's also nice for it to have a sleeve, because quite often they are sleeveless, and personally that's not my jam in particular. I like a sleeve, and I know a lot of my customers prefer a sleeve. Okay, now then we have a denim midi skirt. Let's show you that there. So really nice length with buttons down the front. This is a super wearable style and would be lovely for kind of autumn and winter. I like that, that's really nice. And now sizing wise that seems a little bit more sensible. So the hip on there is a finished measurement of 52¼ inches. It's not really showing body measurements. I wonder if body measurements are somewhere separate. Sizing, yeah. So it looks like towards the beginning we've actually got a size chart for body measurements. So on there, the 22, which is the biggest size, 46½ inches on the bust and 49¼ inches on the hip. So it's not the greatest. Personally, I like to see patterns going well over 50 inches on the hips before we even start to think about size inclusivity. You know, there's a long way to go there. Okay, moving on from the skirt, we've got a jersey dress. This to me is very reminiscent of the Sew Over It Molly. So we've got that dropped sleeve and quite a high neckline on there, but like a lovely basic. I think that's really nice. I'm not convinced about the length, but you could adjust that, and yeah, that's nice. I could see that being very wearable. It's kind of a bit of a different take on like a Breton style, but it does look a lot like the Molly. And then we have a maxi dress. This is beautiful. It's a bit of fabric godmother viscose crepe they've used there. Nice sort of detail on the midriff there on the yoke. And little ties on the sleeves, which is cute. I bet that uses a lot of fabric. Oh, 3¼ meters, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Sometimes when you've got a lot of tiers on a maxi, they're getting up to sort of 4 or 5 meters, which makes them quite expensive. It does have an invisible zip in the back though. Then we've got a jersey wrap dress pictured on this lady here. This is sort of in a colour blocked style, which is different. And it looks like the neckline is bound. It looks like a genuine wrap rather than a mock wrap, so quite a sort of classic style. And yep, it's got a back seam, so the colour blocking is continuing at the back, so that's cute. So you're going to be looking at things like cotton jersey. Oh, it says light to medium weight, avoid t-shirt weight. Why would we avoid t-shirt weight? I think that would be nice. And then we have another colour blocked dress here. A little bit 60s style. Do you remember them doing that as a challenge years ago? They did a 60s style colour blocked dress. But this one's got like a little, I'm not sure about the sleeve on this, to be honest. Does that sleeve really sit with the design? I don't know. That is like, isn't that the Mary Quant style dress? It should be sleeveless usually, but never mind, that's cute. Culottes next. Looks rather like my 17mm gingham in ochre, if you were interested. And they've got this little frill on the bottom, which is sweet. These would also make nice pyjama pants, don't you think? Oh, mind you, that's got a zip in, so you might not want a zip in bed, but sweet. They've got an ordinary waist rather than an elastic waist, so that's nice. Yeah, we've got a side seam zip we can see there. And yeah, that's just showing you how to do a variation with a frill. And then finally we have something for the men at long last. So we've got some cargo shorts, and I don't think that's really the best photo to show you because it's not showing the actual shorts. Come on guys, show us a picture. There we go. That's a better display. So yeah, a nice basic style. I could see James wearing these. Mr. Stitches would wear those. Maybe not in that kind of ticking, but in a plain he would. But yeah, nice basic style there. And we've got a comment from Tony R, who was on the last series, I think. Okay, so that's nice. Nice to see a gents one at long last. And then we move on to a jumpsuit. This is cute. It reminds me of, I feel like I've seen a pattern very similar to that around, but that's nice. It's got a slim leg and little tie shoulders and an elastic waist. That would be very nice for holidays. Or you could glam that up for sort of parties and things. Kind of minimal fitting in something like that as well, which is nice. There is a lot of projects in this book, to be fair. I will give it that. We then have women's cargo pants. I'm going to be sewing a pair of cargo pants myself soon, and I thought, oh, should I do these? But I wanted some that were cuffed. So I'll carry on with the pattern that I've got. They did this on the last series, didn't they? Very sort of in fashion now. It's very similar to the gents cargo shorts really, but extended out into a trouser and on a women's size block. There we go. And what else do we have? Oh, the zero waist pants. Do you remember those? They were clever, weren't they? So that's how they look made up. They've done them there as a pyjama. But depending on how you style it, you could do them as an outside. But you can see from the cutting layout there how there's no wastage. I remember them doing that on the show, and it blew my mind. Yeah. Then we go back into menswear, and even though some of these projects have felt a little bit simple in places, we go really in hard with a trench coat. I mean, that is quite a project, isn't it? There's a lot involved in a trench coat, quite technical. Have they ever made one on the Bee? I'm trying to think. I was showing this to Mr. Stitches and he was, oh, I really like that. That's a better photo of it there. So it's got all of your classic details with the storm flaps and the belt, which is nice to bring it in at the waist, because a lot of gents' trench coats I find can be quite boxy. And then we have a patchwork coat. This is really sweet. It gives me kind of like house coat vibes. But I'm not mad about it. I think there's an opportunity to make that quite chic. A lot of the patchwork stuff's been a lot more sort of in fashion recently, hasn't it? There was definitely a time where that would be considered really naff. And it looks like it's just the front that's patched. The back is plain. Which is how it was on the show. And then we're back onto, I want to say menswear, but this is actually unisex, onto a fleece jacket. This is nice. This has a lot of potential. It's very much up my street. And you could use sort of sweatshirting and things for that one. And then, is this the last one? We're running out of pages here. No, it's not. There's two more to go. This is lovely. This is a roll top backpack, and I really enjoyed this challenge when they did this on the last series, I think. So there's a few of these which I feel I will buy the book for on its own, and that's probably one of them. That's really, really nice. Then we have just a regular sort of quilted tote. Or is it? Oh no, it's for using up your scraps. Right, so this is one of those where you put your scrap fabric under a layer of organza and use your scraps up like that, which is a very creative way to get rid of scraps. And make a tote bag with it. And that is everything in that book. Now, I feel like that's quite a lot. You know, there's quite a lot of value in there. I would say in summary, yep, it says 25 projects, full-size paper patterns. I would say in summary, I wish it was a bit more size inclusive. I can't get around that one, I'm afraid, but some really nice options in there. So I think it's a nice companion to the series. We'll see whether they actually make any of these items in the upcoming series, because I feel like we've seen a lot of these on the show before, so it doesn't necessarily go alongside the actual show itself. But those are my 2 books that I have purchased in the last week, and I hope you enjoyed that mini kind of show and tell and review. Let me know what you think, whether you will be buying either one of these, and what you think of them. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments and we can have a little chat about it. But I am away to go and plan a couple of mini makes for my little girl, so I will see you soon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed my ramblings, please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. That would be hugely helpful, and I will see you soon. Take care and happy sewing. Bye bye.